practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. Hey there, everyone. Dave Barlow here with the gang from Sell for 1%. We got my eldest, Jay, and my youngest, Jaime. Some people think your real name's James, but it's actually Jaime. So, our term of the week this week is going to be escalation clause. Now, the escalation clause was a fairly widely used clause about a year and a half ago when we had tons of offers coming in on just about every listing that we put up there. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the pros and cons of an escalation clause. I know there's some agents out there that don't want to entertain escalation clause. They just want you to give them your best and highest, and that's it. And I can see the pros and cons of that as well. But we always kind of start these conversations with seller side, buyer side, pluses, minuses. And so this time around, we're going to shake things up a little bit. And Jaime, as our number one top buyer agent, the use of an escalation clause for a buyer, pluses, minuses that you see.
Yeah, so if you are going into a house that, is well done and has potential for multiple offers, maybe it does have multiple offers. Escalation clause allows you to say, let's say asking price for house is 300 and multiple offers in hand. You really want the house, you can say, I'll offer you 300,000 escalation clause up to 320,000, and the escalation factor is by $1,000 or maybe $5,000. Whatever is over that 300,000 that you had in your contract, you're willing to beat up to $320,000 by a factor of $1,000, $5,000, whatever it is. It gives you an extra edge. It gives you an edge up to a higher number without concretely saying we're going to give you 320. It gives you a little bit more of an edge. Sometimes it works out very well. Like Dad said, sometimes a seller will say, well, if you are willing to pay 320, why don't you pay 320? Jay, on the seller side, what do you make of escalation clauses?
It depends on what we have in hand. It depends on when we get, how the offers come in and how it all kind of plays out. I don't really have any problem with them. I'm not one of the people that Dad's talking about where I say, on the MLS, don't send me escalation clauses. I mean, we'll take them in. Now, if, there's different moves to make on the seller side. And like I said, I mean, a lot of it is, you get real nuanced, in this. If, we come on the market, our typical day we come on the market is a Thursday, and we do that to get primed up for the weekend. So if Thursday night or Friday morning I get, offer number one, it's has an escalation clause that is, full price offer. And if you get another offer, we'll escalate, to $100,000 over, full price. I mean, with an offer like that, and I get it up front in the beginning, it kind of gives me a target to hit for that weekend where I can go back to that person and say, hey, I can bluff multiple offers, set a deadline for Sunday. And then every showing that comes in, all I'm trying to do is trigger that escalation clause. So if I get an escalation clause early in this process, to me, the buyer is giving away leverage and the seller is gaining leverage. And now if I get an escalation clause at the very end and it's only, like you said, it escalates by $1,000, if everything else is equal, my sellers more often than not are going to choose the person making a straight up offer over somebody who's going to say, well, I'll pay you, $1,000 more. So now on the buyer side, to counteract that, what I do is I tell all my clients, you got to escalate by at least $5,000, because I've never had a seller say no to $5,000 more dollars. I've had them say no to $1,000 more. And then I've had buyers, I have represented buyers that have lost deals because we only escalated by $1,000. And so since I started escalating by 5,000, never lost the first deal. So, to me, it's a very nuanced topic. I can keep going or I can stop.
This seems more like a training video, to be honest, on how to be a great agent with escalation clauses. We could explain escalation clauses to you guys. Give us a call.
Yeah, I think it's a training guide that for buyers, sellers, other agents. But the key here is that we understand how to use them and what the best situation to put you into as a buyer and also as a seller. I think you guys are both right on buyer side and seller side. I've used them on both sides, and there's pluses and minuses to each side. On the buyer side, as you said, Jay, sometimes you give away your hand. If it's a $300,000 house and you're willing to escalate to 320, if I get that as a listing agent, I may call you back after conferring with my client and say, hey, if you're willing to go to 320, we'll do 320 and take the house off the market today. But
your bluff.
Yeah, if you're willing to do it, let's go. If not, then we're willing to wait and see what happens this weekend.
Let's see where the bidding war goes. You might get it for less than 320. You might lose it altogether.
Exactly. And so every situation is a little bit different. You were talking about $5,000. I think that also has to do with what the ask price is. I don't know that I'm jumping $5,000 increments on a $100,000 house. On a $1 million house, I might jump 20,000 because the percentages are going to be different as you go up. 20,000 on $1 million is only 2%. 2% on 100,000 is 2,000. So, what's needed to make the deal happen? And a lot of times that's just a phone call then to the other agent and say, what do we got to do to buy it today? And
yeah, but I've been burned so many times at that I just try and take it out of the other agent's hand.
Yep, I understand.
And represent the buyer, or the seller the best that I can. I can't tell you how many times, let me know what we got to do to buy the house to get you the most money. And then that phone call never comes and they sell the house to somebody else. And so that's where I do like your idea about, the escalation. I still think on 100,000, I would still do the 5 personally. But, obviously, you're correct about the $1 million. And I did just do one. We had a buyer. It was a $12,000 listing. It was a rehab property. And so we did an escalation up to like 28,000. And we only went by 2,500 because we thought, well, 5,000 is a little bit ridiculous.
Right.
And we won that bid by $300. And so that escalation clause worked and we won it by $300. And so that was a good day for my buyer. Right. It prevents the buyers from overpaying if you don't have to, but you don't lose the house. And so it's that nice balancing act. But then for a seller, you got to be aware of buyer's remorse. And if you push somebody all the way to the top end, were they really wanting to really go that high? And so there's all this stuff that we're there. That's where you call Jaime or you call Dad because they're the brains of the operations, and you call me when you need the good-looking, charming realtor to come in and smooth things over.
There you go.
I mean, between the three of us, we can make it happen.
It will sort you through the minutia.
Yeah, it's interesting, and we've all had. And I think the key here is experience. With the number of houses that we list on a monthly basis, number of houses that we represent buyers, and just the overall number each side. I tell people all the time, it's like a baseball player. If that baseball player only gets to see a pitcher, a few balls, a year, they're probably not going to be a very good hitter. But if they get into the batter's box 3-4 times a game, they're taking 1,000 swings before and after the game, they're seeing a lot of balls, then that experience helps them become a better hitter. And I had an old coach when I played way back in the day, His saying was, practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. And there's a lot of truth to that. You can get out there and practice, but if you're practicing wrong, it doesn't help. What you're looking for is somebody that's practicing correctly, winning deals on a regular basis, and that's what we do. And so if you're looking to win both on the listing side and on the buyer side, here's our phone numbers online. Give us a call, and we'd be happy to talk with you in either situation. If you like this content, this information, please subscribe, like, ring the bell, and as we give more training videos for other real estate agents to dovetail off of, you'll be the first to know when we do that. All right, guys, great conversation. Thanks. Appreciate it, and we'll see you next week.